Good afternoon, watch enthusiasts. This is OJ Whatley, and I'm here to talk to you about a couple of great watches. Before we get started, if you like our watch videos, please make sure to tune in to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. And of course, if you like our watches, please make sure to check out our website, watchyouwant.com, where our entire inventory of watches can be viewed in real time. We update our watch on a daily basis, sometimes even an hourly basis, and so you can check our website for our latest arrivals, our sneak peeks, and you're able to sort our inventory on a per brand basis as well. So today I'm talking to you about a couple of very cool Panerais. I call this segment A Tale of Two Watches. What I have here is two very special 1940 Radiomirs, and I wanted to kind of compare and contrast the differences between these two very similar and yet very distinctly different watches. So today I'm talking about the PAM 587, the 1940 Radiomir 3 days, and the PAM 587, the Radiomir 1940 Marina Militare. Now at first glance, these watches would appear, vastly different. One has a much thicker plastic crystal. The other one has a much fatter and much more domed or exaggerated plastic crystal, while the other one has a much more flat, streamlined sapphire crystal. One watch has a date and a seconds hand, that's the 514, while the 587 has merely a minute and an hour hand. Now both of these watches have sort of that dirty brown dial, and they both have that sandwich dial, which has the hour markers cut out from the dial, sort of in a stencil style. And they're both 47mm stainless steel cases in that 1940 Radiomir design. Now, there's been a lot of confusion about that 1940 Radiomir case, what it is and what it isn't. So clearly, it's designated a Radiomir due to the fact that it does not have the Panerai patented crown protector device. That's what defines these watches as Radiomirs. But what exactly defines these watches as a 1940 Radiomir is interesting, and it's all in the nuances. So in both of these watches, what you will note is they both have fixed solid lugs, very large fixed solid lugs, just like on the Luminar 1950 and on the Luminar cases. They're not the wire lugs that's seen so frequently on the traditional Radiomirs. Again, they are the fixed solid lugs, and there they are, and they're pretty big lugs at that. Now again, both of these watches are 47mm, and they both feature a 26mm lug width strap, just like on the 47mm Luminar 1950 cases. So while these watches look very different, they are in fact the exact same watch. It's just that one is a more stylized version of the original Marina Militare version, whereas one is a more contemporary take on the watch. So while they're both the exact same watch, the PAM 514, Panerai chose to utilize the date complication, whereas in the PAM 587 Marina Militare, they chose to cover up that date indication. But rest assured, that date indication is there on the PAM 587 Marina Militare. Again, on the 587, what you see is the trademark Marina Militare stamped boldly right below the 12 o'clock, whereas on the 514, you have the Radiomir Panerai. So anyways, back to the 1940 Radiomir distinction. So the biggest difference between the Radiomir and the Radiomir 1940, number one, are those big fixed lugs, and the other major difference comes in the form of this very large oversized winding crown. And this winding crown was influenced by the oversized winding crown on the original Rolex military subs. They call it a barrel crown. It's a very large crown. It's a screw-down winding crown. It features the OP arrows, the original Pre-Vendome arrows logo on that crown. And what I really love about the design of this watch is this crown, because it really enables very easy winding and easy setting of the watch thanks to this oversized crown, which in my opinion just feels unbelievable in the fingers. I'm wearing gloves, and yet I have absolutely no problem unscrewing the winding crown, winding the watch, as well as pulling the crown out to be able to advance the minute and the hour hand. So interestingly enough, these are exactly the same movement. They both feature the 3 days manual winding movement. It's just that they chose to utilize the date function in the 514, whereas they chose to obscure that complication or that indication in the 587. Of course, the 587 is a Marina Militaire designation, which certainly gives it a little more prominence as a tactical timepiece. And one of the neat things about this watch is that it comes with a very special strap. That strap has the original Pre-Vendome OP Arrows logo stamped right on the strap at the 12 o'clock mark and at the 6 o'clock mark. And this strap is very different from any other strap that I've seen on other Radiomirs. I believe it was pretty much a one-off strap made exclusively for the 587. And as a special edition watch, this watch was only made for one production year. Of course, it comes with a big oversized special edition box set. And of course, comes with the original special edition parchment scroll certificate, where it's individually numbered to match the watch. That's what makes this a little different from the 514, whereas the 514 is a regular edition watch. So if we turn these watches over, what we will see is that they have the exact same movement. They're both powered by the Cal P3000 manual winding movement. They both have the exact same case. Something that's very interesting about these watches and that you'll note is the Marina Militaire has the original screw-down lugs. You know, it's basically a removable screw that screws in on one side of the lugs, whereas the 514 features what's found more commonly on the 1940 Radiomirs, which is essentially a spring bar pin that is used to hold the strap in place. You know, I believe the thinking on this is as a Marina Militaire wristwatch, a watch designated for the Italian Navy, it should have a more tactical look and feel, and thus it's got those beefier lug screws that screw in directly into the case, whereas in the sort of civilian version 1940 Radiomir, if you will, you've got the more delicate spring bar push pins. I personally am a huge fan of the screw-in lug screws because they make changing the straps such an effortless endeavor and really makes it quite idiot-proof. That's one of the things that really drew me to the Panerai brand, even initially back in 1999 when I discovered the brand. Even so, you know, the 514 is one of my favorite watches that was released, and to me, the 587 is just improving on that model and giving it a little more vintage look and feel. Again, one of the neatest things about this watch is that, and I'm not sure how well you can see it, but I think you see it in this picture, you have a very exaggerated, oversized, domed crystal that raises about, probably almost 5 millimeters over the top of the case, whereas if you look at the 514, it's a sapphire crystal and you don't have that exaggeration. In fact, it's almost level with the top of the bezel going straight across. It is sapphire as opposed to this one, which is plastic. So the 587 is a special edition Marina Militaire. It was only made in 1,000 pieces, and it is in very high demand in short supply. Also another thing that I really like about this watch, currently there's probably 2 or 3 of them on eBay, and we're lucky to have this piece because I know we haven't had too many of these. Even since they were released as the Q series, this is only the second PAM 587 that we've had. Additionally, on the PAM 587, you'll note the Pre-Vendome style, that oversized, what we call that bottle opener buckle, whereas on the 514, we have the more traditional thumbnail buckle. Again, just another contrast between the two watches. We have that old school thumbnail style buckle, tang buckle, of course stamped Panerai, whereas on the 587 we have that Pre-Vendome style, oversized, what we call bottle opener buckle. Of course, it's also stamped Panerai, and it's a screw-down crown to hold that buckle in place on both straps. So I call this a tale of two watches because they are essentially the same watch, and yet through the different styling and the ways Panerai has executed on the straps and obscuring the date on one versus the other, as well as the application of that oversized plastic crystal, you really have two very distinctly different watches, even though it is in fact the same case, even though it is in fact the same movement that powers these two watches. Either watch is a great bet. Personally, I happen to love the 514 because it does have the date indication, and for me, I just go bonkers when I wear a watch that doesn't have a date indication. And that's just comes from years of wearing a Rolex Submariner and other watches with dates. I kind of go stir crazy wearing a watch without a date. Although I would sacrifice the date to wear this watch because I think it's pretty cool, and it definitely has a very distinct look unto itself that looks very different from the 514, which is one of the really neat things. You know, I've always said that once you really get into the brand, a true enthusiast will really understand the nuances between each and every model and the little details and nuances that make each and every model so different, so unique, and so distinct. And I think this is a very good example of how Panerai can create that distinctiveness, that unique feel and look from a watch just by putting a different crystal on, just by putting a different dial on, and just by obscuring, for example, the date and the seconds hand on the 587. So there you have it. That's a tale of two watches. Here they are one more time. The kissing cousins, if you will, the 587 and the 514. Both of these watches are available on our website. You can check them out at watchyouwant.com. If you like our watch videos, please make sure to tune in to our YouTube watch channel, Watch You Want Inc., and subscribe to get updates to our most recently released videos. And you can see everything that's going on in the watch world by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you so very much for your time today. And as always, please wear your watches in the very best of health. This is OJ Whatley for Watch You Want, signing off. Have a great day.